I make these videos, but I'm never really sure who's seeing what. I see the view count going up, and you know they average around say 10 people. 10 people watch these videos, and the videos do actually wrap up more views than my Facebook posts. Um, so that's very small. It's very small, but you know, I mean, I can't really tell you for sure who's watching. Um, anyway, the Facebook analytics or their metrics are always a little bit off. I'm never really sure how to read them, but then again, I don't really care at this point to read them because they're so small. They're just so small that it makes no sense to even like why would I obsess over it? But I do. I mean, if the analytics are available, then I will watch them. Like I will try to suss out what's going on there. But otherwise, yeah, I'm not completely obsessed with it, despite what I might be saying right now. So you know, recently what I've been doing is, you know, I tend to get these news items coming on my feed, and they're from kind of, you know, they're from groups and pages and companies that I've signed up to in terms of liking on Facebook. Um, so they, you know, they do give me a very, I don't want to say that it's a very doctored news feed because I mean, you do get stories that kind of, you know, from trusted media sources that kind of do explain both sides of each argument. You know, I don't see the reporting as too ideological or too biased. It seems to be kind of centrist and, you know, rational. But recently what I've been doing is I've been typing in atheism in Google, and a lot of what comes up and these days are basically arguments against atheism. And it's interesting to read because I mean, you know, not to sound pompous or anything, but I mean, this far into the game, I tend to just take things for granted. But you see these like news items come up, and and the writing in them is just very off. And I don't know how far along I've come in terms of being influenced by atheistic arguments, and maybe I pick these things out, maybe you know just by second nature. I don't know. Maybe I'm not putting enough thought into what these arguments are saying. But I mean, um, you know, even within the writing itself, forgetting what I know, there's some things that don't make a lot of sense. I saw this one from beliefnet .org or .com, um, beliefnet.com, and it's basically the title of the article is Answers to Common Atheist Statements Against Religion. And I don't want to get into the details of it, but I mean, I'll just go bullet point. Like, you know, they have headers of these things that atheists say. So, you know, the first one is, can you prove God exists? And the second one is, well, not the second one, but, you know, or there is no proof God exists. So their argument is basically the whole thing that, well, you know, you can't prove that God doesn't exist. But, you know, the classic line is basically, well, with that, it's saying that, then anything can be anything. Like anything could be anywhere and be anything it wants to be. Like it's a logical fallacy, basically. You can not prove a lot of things. So you know, so there's that, and then there's the second one is, I only believe in what I can see or touch. So they go on about, like, you know, they use scientific hypotheses or theories to say that some of these things you can't touch. Like, you know, when you start getting to quantum physics or when you start getting to cosmology, there are certain things you can't see or touch. That doesn't mean they're not real. But I mean, it's not a matter of the five senses. It's a matter of basically the scientific method and detecting detecting results in these scientific experiments that are repeatable. And they've been repeated, you know, like evolution. It's, you know, these results have been proven millions of times. Like, I mean, you know, peer reviewed, and you know, there's a lot of consensus among the scientific community that these are the way things work. Given that, science is not saying that this is what it is. It's just basically a question. If new evidence comes up, it basically, you know, makes begs or creates a situation in which, you know, things are questioned again. But certain things get questioned so many times and have the same results that it's a theory. You can pretty much say this is a fact. And you know, it's not always based on touching or smell or eyesight. Like, we have instrumentation for this. So there's that. And then yeah, then they go on to say this is, science can explain all phenomena. so religion is unnecessary. Well, science can't explain everything. Admittedly, like science just can't explain everything. But when you think about the answers to it that religions often put forth, they're not rational. Like they're and you can't forget that they're exclusive. Like religions are mutually exclusive. So I mean, which religion is telling the truth, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, just because you can't prove something scientifically doesn't mean you immediately jump to these kinds of narratives and stories to prove things. Like they just don't. People only accept religion because they were raised in it. Well, that kind of goes back to the different religions and where you grow up and all that stuff. I mean, I was born to a traditionally Muslim family, and I was sent to Muslim schools, etc., etc. Now I'm an atheist, and I'm sure that I mean, you could look this up. I mean, I don't think I have to cite any reports or anything, but if you grew up in a Muslim majority country, like the odds are you're going to be Muslim. And if it's Christian, Christian, blah blah blah. So I mean, I don't even get that one. Oh yeah, then they have the problem of evil type question. If God is good, why do people suffer? Blah 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 blah. I think this is kind of asking what the nature of God is, and I think there's the problem of evil argument, which has holes in it. So you can't tell what the nature of God is. Like there's no way of us knowing that. There isn't. I mean, there's so many things in the Quran or the Bible or any other doctrine or text, and that can be unprovable. Like it just doesn't work out in real life. So I mean, you can't know the nature of God. Like you just can't. There's just too many inconsistencies. And if you're using the Bible as evidence, I mean, that's kind of like that's a circular, what do they call it, like a circular argument. Like it doesn't go anywhere. And then religion killed more people, blah blah blah. They talk a lot about communist regimes and fascist regimes, specifically Hitler, obviously. But I mean, that's not necessarily atheism, and I've seen it many times. I've read many articles on this, but Hitler wasn't actually atheist. There's a lot of evidence of collusion with the Catholic Church and with Lutheran churches, etc., etc. So there's that, and then any other communist kind of socialist kind of thing going on is usually statist. I mean, even the stuff happening with Muslims in China right now, some of the lines they're feeding these detained Muslims seem awfully kind of ideological and fascistic. They don't seem they don't seem to be completely atheistic. There's still an ideological play there. So I think that's about it. I know it's kind of vague, but I feel like it's such a simple video. I don't have to really spell it out for everybody. But yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's all. Bye.